Pick me up like a paintbrush, God. Dip it in the colors of my life. Paint your picture, sweet spirit, fashion a heart that is wholly yours. Then take your fingers, God, master potter, come mold the clay. Tell your story as you mold me. Fashion a heart that's wholly yours. Come, write your name, write your name in the clay. Come, sign your name, sign your name, sign it on the picture. Come, write your name, write your name in the clay. Come, sign your name, sign your name on the picture. Pick me up like a paintbrush, God. Dip it in the colors of my life. Paint your picture, God. Tell a story. Come, write your name, write your name. Come, sign your name, sign your name. Come, write your name, sign your name. Paint that picture. Write your name, write your name. Come, write your name, write your name. Come, sign your name, sign your name in the clay and in the picture. Pick me up like a paintbrush, God. Dip it in the colors of my life. Paint your picture. Come sign your name, sign your name. In the clay and in the picture.
Please join me in prayer. We close out this month of January of 2025, focusing on the basics of science of mind. Today, delving into the creative process. And we are very grateful for Reverend Steve Kindsfather, through whom Spirit's going to speak today, to tell us all about that creative process, that power, that unlimited power that we have within to connect with the power that is unlimited, ever expanding, ever evolving, ever creating. And we get to co-create with that power to create good in our own lives and to work as a community to create a world that works for everyone. I give thanks for all others who've come together to make this service possible, to make it good, to make it grand. And that includes our Karen for the beautiful music, Travis, our technological whiz. That includes Lois, Dennis, and Nancy, our hospitality team, our beautiful practitioners, and of course, our ushers, Nancy and Babs. And all the rest, each and every person in this space who's come together to make this all happen. We're so grateful that our Don Mock is in the house to share a song from his heart with us today. We are grateful for all the blessings that we have, grateful for all of the people within the sound of my voice, because what I know is that each and every one of us will hear what is necessary to reconnect us and affirm that we are co-creators with the unlimited source and supply of all the good there is. And so we give thanks for this. So give thanks for everyone in this space, for everyone within the sound of my voice. And release this gratitude into that divine law that knows how to mold, make, shape, and create all the good there is, everywhere, all the time. I release my words into that law, knowing that all is done at the intersection of right here and right now. I let this go, I let it be. And together we affirm, and so it is. I have got words of inspiration, the first of which come from Alfred Hitchcock. There's something more important than logic. It's the imagination. From Carl Sagan. Imagination will often carry us to worlds that never were. But without it, we will go nowhere. Mm-hmm. From our founder, the Honorable Dr. Ernest Holmes. How simple the process of creation is when we understand it. Spirit speaks, and since there's nothing but spirit and it is all power, it has only to speak and it's done. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. We are so blessed. We have got Reverend Steve Kindsfather here, who came once and he keeps coming back. We haven't successfully driven him out yet, and we're so grateful for all that Reverend Steve does. And I've got a rap sheet that he so kindly voluntarily provided. How about that? Tell on himself. So he's a resident of Golden, Colorado, a third-generation Colorado native. And Steve was born into the Science of Mind teachings. His parents were two of 14 founders that created Mile High Church. He served as a practitioner for 12 years and is currently the senior minister of Vessels of Spirit at a CSL Focus Ministry. Steve took to woodworking and carpentry early in his life and began teaching his skills to others. After teaching this trade in a juvenile correctional facility, he led college and high school students through construction of an entire house each school year. There are 20 homes around the Denver area that stand as testaments of youth learning and working together. Now retired from hands-on teaching of home building, Steve now teaches spirituality from the heart through his ministry, photography, poetry, and community leadership. I want to tell you that this man spent the month of December, there they are, our Kindsfathers, Mr. and Mrs. Claus, just running around all over Colorado, spreading joy to families. Again, he told on himself. We got some photographic evidence of just all of the joy and the looks on the faces of those people that got to experience these beautiful light beings. It's incredible. Also, what's not here is that he facilitated a practitioner retreat for us here at New Dawn, and I got to tell you, one of the things he doesn't talk about is how well he works with singing bowls. And he provided a brief concert that opened the floodgates of creativity. And early April, some of you won't get to experience that. That's for another time. So without further ado, please welcome Reverend Steve Kindsfather. Thank you, Russell. Thank you.
Thank you for allowing me to be here again. I was supposed to be here last week, and I'm kind of glad they decided not to have it due to the weather. I talk to myself enough as it is. Thank you, Karen, for that rendition of Julie Meyer's song, Paint Your Picture. I heard it many times and went online and just saw the creative video that goes with that and thought it was perfect. And Karen made it better than I've ever heard before. Bless you. I want to thank all those that are here today that knew I was speaking and you came anyway. And at 26 days into the new year, how we doing on our resolutions, the new you? Okay. In our teaching, though, we're more about intentions than resolutions and setting those, and that's part of what I want to share today about that creative process and what that means to us. Many aspects of the creative process. I won't be able to get into all of them, but there are three main takeaways that I want you to listen to and take those with you into your heart and into your spiritual practice. How many here consider yourself creative? Probably a little over half. And those that do not consider yourself creative? Oh. And won't admit it? And if that person sitting next to you didn't raise their hand for either one of those, would you give them a nudge if they start snoring? The first takeaway that I'd like you to understand is that you are creating even when you're sleeping. Our thoughts are always planting seeds. We just have that ability, and Russell mentioned a few of the things of creating with the one creator. Wayne Dyer says this: the universal mind of creation is in constant state of supplying. It never shuts down, takes no vacations, there are no days off, and it's perpetually giving forth. So we're always co-creating, and Russell mentioned that with a God. And God goes by many names in different religions around the world. They often put the masculine to God, or created this bearded guy up in the clouds, judging, keeping tabs. Our founder, Ernest Holmes, has many names for God within himself, as I think we all do: Spirit, Source, Infinite Intelligence, and the thing itself. And in doing some of my reading and bringing up some of the quotes I wanted to share with you, I found the Vedic Sanskrit. It's called the Taittiriya Upanishad. Taittiriya Upanishad. Took me a while to pronounce that correctly. Probably still haven't. But Brahman is their name for God, and they've given that male gender a presence to it. Before creation came into existence, Brahman existed as the unmanifest. From the unmanifest, he created the manifest. From himself, he brought forth himself. Hence, he is known as the self-existent. And that's very similar to what Ernest Holmes teaches about the one creator creating things out of itself without being consumed by itself. And God, as a man in likeness, is what a lot of the religions do. And that, again, I said, that bearded man, judging, keeping notes. And some of those prayers were like for mercy. Oh God, show mercy on me that I might survive, or make it up to heaven where you are up there, that separation thing that and forgiveness. Forgive me, I was born a sinner. Religions that teach that I was around them as a child, but as Russell mentioned in my introduction, brought up in this teaching. So I have to stand up for being that old white bearded guy myself. I know that more as a Santa Claus, as was mentioned, that Santa Claus is a person of giving and joy and not judging, and coming with gifts and seeing people and bringing the joy of the season. And the very first prayer that I learned as a toddler, it made it, God was none of those things. God was not of gender nor judgmental. And so if it would be okay with you, I'd like to share that prayer that I learned as a child. And again, I was comforted more than feeling like I was something wrong. And my parents taught it to me before I could speak, or at a very early age. And it goes, God is good, God is love, God is harmony, and God is in me. And so it is. So to just anchor that, and I would like you to anchor it with me by repeating it, if you would be willing to. God is good, God is love, God is harmony, and God is in me. And claim it together, and so it is. Awesome. And you can say that at any time, very quickly, and just keep it with you. It touches me when I speak it now, when that's the truth of who you are. And I think of all those that grew up, you're a sinner, you're not good enough, all those things that are planted into our brain, and that separation of God. You can think of Santa Claus being kind. That's when if you happen to go to the bearded man in the sky. We are one with the universal creativeness, which is the God of theology, the spirit of mysticism, the reality of philosophy, and the principle of science. And we're one with all of these qualities. We experience each of these qualities at the level of our awareness, or as practice and becoming familiar with them. And I know we all have touches of them, or really deepness with one of them, or when several of them be anchored really deep. That's when we have true transformation. So within that creative process. What we believe, that's a article, or it's a list of things that we believe. It's in the Science of Mind magazine. I see some heads nodding. You're familiar with it. If you get the Science of Mind magazine, it's in there every month. And I found it really curious. Nobody truly knows how Ernest Holmes wrote that. They know that he did. Some said they just gave him this assignment, and in 20 minutes he sat by himself, came up with it. Or say, what is your teaching all about? And he took some time to gather those and then compiled them. But regardless, what we believe in God, the living Spirit Almighty, one indestructible, absolute, and self-existent cause, This one manifests itself in and through all creation, but is not absorbed by its creation. The manifest universe is the body of God. It is the logical and necessary outcome of the infinite self-knowingness of God. So that's why I wanted to share what God is to me. And just that word for some people in religion that just brings fear. And this is Ernest Holmes' way of sort of saying what the Upanishad quote also said, with taking the gender out of it and expanding it through possibilities. I consider ourselves mini-gods, as in mini-me. I shall call him mini-me. That we have God's qualities. We're not all the qualities of God. There's no way we could be all of what God is, but all of what God is within us, sort of like the one drop of water within the ocean. We're not the whole ocean, but we contain those parts. And we're mini creators. We get to create our own destiny, our own artwork, our thoughts, our creative, all those things that we put together, inventions, artwork, that which you do, you're creating along with God as a mini God. I kind of wanted to, I wanted to share a little bit about the concept of water. And that water is so essential to life. It's 3/4 of the earth. The creator that came before us and gave us this planet Earth, and all the planets beyond and the universes. But our home, water can move by running downhill. Maybe starts as a little drop or in a crevice, which becomes a stream, and then a river. The Continental Divide is here in Colorado. If a drop of water lands on one side, it flows eventually to the Atlantic Ocean to the east. Or if it were just on the little bit further to the other side of the Continental Divide, would eventually flow into the Pacific Ocean to the west. That's kind of amazing to think about that. But other ways that water can move is as an iceberg floating, evaporates up into a cloud, and the clouds move with the breeze, and then God gives us a gentle rain on the flowers. Or it can be a major downpour to put out a forest fire, or it can come down as snow. So it's a liquid, obviously, all around the world, a gas, and a solid as ice. And that ice exists at the two poles, farthest away from the equator. There's always ice there. So all the forms of water, to create that, that's one example of what the mighty Creator did for us. And to read this quote, "You belong to the universe in which you live. You are one with the creative genius. Back of this vast array of ceaseless motion, this original flow of life, you are as much a part of it as the sun, the earth, and the air." I want you to realize that. I want that to sink in. Creative possibilities. Ernest Holmes reminds us that there is a power for good in the universe greater than we are, and we can use it. And my prayer of God is love, creating with love. My second takeaway is God is creating as you, so do it with love. Our individual creativity is not individual at all, for it's the highest God and the innermost God are one God. Love is the sole impulse of creation, and the man who does not have love as the greatest incentive in his life has never developed the real creative instinct. I like the graphics on that as well. So what do you love to create? When you know what that is, it's your calling. It's your gift, what you are here on this planet to do. God gave the love to create. I love baking cookies. I love sewing. Me as a carpenter, I loved working with my hands. My mom was a secretarial type person, and people loved her. She was great at what she did, but my dad was making sawdust. Go out and look at a vacant lot, and they wanted a garage put on behind their house or their backyard, and a couple weeks later it was done, by getting the right materials. And I love the smell of sawdust and that tangible result. And that's what inspired me to do what I do. One of the many things I do and love. So those are your gifts. Answer them and ask yourself, where do you get your incentive? Why do you enjoy doing what you do? And I saw some of the classes coming up and the creative processes there and possibilities. So I think that's excellent as well. Take advantage of those and listen to your heart and your inner calling. And our artwork that we create is a gift for others. And if other people enjoy it, they have a like mind. If they don't, so be it. It came from your heart, and not everyone has to love everything you do. This quote by Bill Moyers I felt was appropriate. Creativity is piercing the mundane to find the marvelous. So quit playing small. I personally have two, I thought, well, where am I playing small? What ideas do I have that maybe I haven't followed through on? And one is to have a van type vehicle, sort of like the Amazon vans, fairly big, bigger than a minivan, but have a capsule that fits inside of it, slides on rails and locks in. If you have windows in the van, the windows inside this capsule would line up perfectly, so you could have a workbench in there to do like locksmiths that do things out of their van. That slides out into your storage rack. Garage door opens up, you back up, it slides right into perfect compartment, locks in, stored. Pull over to the next one, or even the storage rack moves over, rolls the next one, and it's your camping gear. Has everything in it already, all your gear, your bed, your sink, and things. So you got the same vehicle, same color outside, and the back doors lock it, obviously, or however you want to have it, however private or however many windows, and quickly you can change all the contents with one vehicle. So it's an idea I've had, and maybe it will show up or maybe not. Another one is now with the electric vehicles. There's so much time and inconvenience of charging. That's one of the biggest problems is the mileage range. So why are there not charging filling stations like propane bottles are exchanged? You pull up to the station that has all these batteries, and they probably could do 3 different kinds would fit for every single vehicle. Maybe the rear bumper opens up, it's mounted very solid. If you got rear-ended, that's a solid piece of metal, but it opens up, slide out one battery and buy the new one, get a deposit for one, locks in, you're good to go. And in a matter of minutes, 5 minutes, really that battery could be a battery swap, and then that charging station is charging it for the next person that has that same kind of battery or have several. Anyway, 2 ideas that maybe Elon Musk will help me out with that. How many of you have begun a creation and you've not finished it? Something, Yeah. Who's holding out on me? Like knitting a sweater, maybe. You knitted part of it and never finished, or ran out of yarn, or didn't. Just set it aside. It could be something that small. Writing that book, that's guilty of a lot of us. And speaking of a book, I read this. My wife picked it up for both of us. It's called The Daily Creative by Todd Henry. And she was reading part of it and said, you need to put this in your talk. And so I said, let's see if you're correct. And she was, as always. Each day is sort of a call or a thought about creativity. And then there's an exercise to either journal or write something about it, or how many of these you participate in. It's a way to change. So anyway, he's written several books, and I'm going to be more familiar with them now. But this is for January 7th, and it's called Die Empty. Almost 20 years ago, I was in a meeting in which someone asked an odd, out-of-the-blue question. What do you think is the most valuable land in the world? Thinking about that. We all made guesses. Manhattan, the oil fields of the Middle East, the gold mines of South Africa. But according to the speaker, we were all wrong. Instead, quoting the late Miles Monroe, he said, the most valuable land in the world is the graveyard, because in it are buried all of the unwritten novels, unexecuted ideas, unreconciled relationships, dreams not pursued. All that value, all those opportunities were buried in the ground with them, making it the most valuable land in the world. I resolved that day I wasn't going to take my best work to the grave. I would do everything I could each day to empty myself of my best work, to put it into the world where it could be useful instead of holding on to it until it's perfect. Or I have more time, or whatever other excuse would be easy to cling on to. Is there an idea, a project, a conversation, or anything that you have been sitting on and thinking, tomorrow I'll start that? If so, today is the day that you should get moving. Do something, start small, and build. And the end affirmation, refuse to take your best work to the grave with you. Choose to die empty. Thank you, Terry, for finding that and including as part of my talk today. Sometimes I feel like God says, here's something I started. Let's see what you can do with it. Those are some of those gifts that we know we should act on and we don't. And the materials are all there, the resources, and I think I've found these things when I get set on doing something I want to create, it starts showing up. The materials, here's where you get it, here's where you find, here's someone that could teach me those things. Just YouTube is a source for some of those inspirations. The SOM teaching symbol, many of you are very familiar with the V and the 2 lines through it. We call that the teaching symbol, and it's about the seed, soil, and plant. That we're planting those seeds. The soil is neutral and will grow what you plant into it. That's a huge part of the creative process, and it's kind of a whole nother talk. But if you're not already adept at that, the practitioners should be what that teaching symbol is, and the mind, spirit, body, in that order, seed, soil, plant. And so that would be the third takeaway, is there is a process and a timing. Process and a timing to creating. Everything is twice created. First in the mind or the thought, and then second in form. And Dr. Roger, who's from Mile High Church, and I TA'd for a lot of his Beyond Limits classes, he always said this, and it really stuck with me, that thoughts thicken into things. So like gravy or whatever, it takes a little bit of time. As it stews or cooks within your heart or within your mind, it thickens into things. So I really enjoyed what he said about that. And John Shar says it this way. The future is created first in mind and will, created next in activity. The future is not someplace we are going to, but one we are creating. Eric Butterworth. You are a creative expression of the universe with the responsibility to let your light shine. Thus you owe the world a life. But in all the many ways in which you apply yourself in the world, the universe owes you complete support. And I know a lot of presenters, they say you shouldn't bring up your PowerPoint or bring up the slide and then read it to the people. But I know we have 2 people that are not sighted here today, and I think they appreciate hearing it and hearing the graphics. And,
If I could just get all my employees at Oracle.
well, we were doing applaud for the sighted people. That's for the hearing impaired. This is applause. So, in closing, I would like you to know that the first takeaway is that you are always creating, planting seeds even when you're sleeping. The second takeaway is God is creating as you. It's your partner, and do it with love. Honor that God that is within you. And the third takeaway is everything is twice created, first in our thought and then second into form. So I want you to know that you are loved, know you're supported with infinite possibilities, and go forth in truth and be creative in all that you do. Thank you. And I'd be honored if you would join me in prayer as we just anchor into that one knowing, that infinite intelligence, that God of being, that God that is love, that is harmony, is good, and is within me and within each of you. When we go to that space, we're divinely guided. We know instinctively what to do. Our creations are created from love. They're gifts that we choose to create and give, which can even be a smile. We create a smile and give it. It doesn't have to be a house or a large project. Knitting a sweater for someone or making something that you know is dear to them. That's what we're here to do, to create with the presence. And again, our creativity and all those things raise. We're more creative, we're more aware as we learn to be with that presence. The closer we get to God, the easier life flows, the more joy we have in our lives, and the more we step into ease and grace and live each day from our loving creativeness. Grateful to be here today. Each of us are grateful for life itself. And as we go our separate ways, we know there is no such thing as separation, for deeply we are one. We are blessed, we are grateful, and join me in affirming this truth by saying, so it is. Namaste.
I think I've known Don Mock since I was 5 or something. He's a year younger than me, so maybe I was 6, I don't know. We went to school together, and all the kids used to sing together on the bus. This is one of the most courageous people I've ever known. He's been through surgeries. Sometimes it's very hard, and I swear to you, he never gives up. And we've been waiting for him to feel okay and to come to sing. That's what he loves to do. He's been many, many times part of Family Productions, which is an amazing troupe. They call themselves, do they call themselves Disabled Troupe? I don't know.
No.
I can't picture that they do.
No, we
Yeah.
really don't. I mean, we are an acting group with disabilities.
There you go.
There you go.
I have a couple of those disabilities. Anyway, would you do me a favor? We're going to listen to him sing, but I want to have a hand for Don Mock. All right, my friend, take
Thank
it away.
you. And I'm going to throw something out there about another takeaway, because in order to believe, or in order to be creative, I believe you have to believe.
Yep. Yeah.
If you believe in your heart, you'll know no one can change the path that you must go. What you feel and know it's right, because time will come around when you can say it's yours. Believe there's a reason to be. Believe you can make time stand still. And right from the moment you start, I know you will. Believe in yourself right from the start. You have a brain and you'll have a heart, and you will have courage to last your whole life through. If you believe in yourself, or just believe